Hi, in today's video, we'll talk about the functions of the skeleton system. Now, it might surprise you whenever we talk about skeleton, we imagine bones and we imagine a framework, and we always think, okay, bones are supposed to protect us, they're supposed to support us, and they're supposed to be involved in movement. Those are the functions we generally associate the skeleton with. But in today's video, we'll see how that is so underestimating of the skeleton. So let's talk about the very first and very easily identifiable part, that is support and protection. Now we know our internal organs are held together by this framework. So our skeleton forms a framework which supports our entire build. So lower limbs, they support the body trunk, right? And then you have the pelvis or simply the pelvic bones, the bones in the hip region, which supports the reproductive organs. Then you have the rib cage that supports and protects the important organs like lungs, also the heart, right? And the skull, the most of important, which has a brain box, also known as cranium, which holds a very important brain, a part of your central nervous system, which processes all the bit of information that you receive. Now, vertebral column, another very important part of your skeleton system, protects the spinal cord, right? And this spinal cord is also part of CNS that has to do a lot of the reflexes and other integrative jobs. So yes, indeed, our skeleton system is to do with a lot of support and protection, but it is also involved with a lot of movement tasks. Why? Because we have two kinds of joints, movable and immovable. So the immovable joints of your skull, also known as sutures, allow expansion of your brain. From as you grow from child to a man, your brain size increases, and somehow the sutures are a bit flexible in your early childhood, which allows for the expansion. So that does not factor into the movement, but the movable joints allow us to lift a hand. How? Throw a ball while playing cricket, because there are different types of joints. One of the example is ball and socket joint. So the upper arm, the bone of the upper arm called humerus has an end that appears like a ball, whereas the shoulder bone appears like a socket, and hence we can move the ball in that socket and have various kinds of movements, right? Similarly, there are different kinds of joints in your body. We have hinge joint, right, in the elbow region, that allows us to lift objects. So these joints allow movement around our body. Besides them, our bones are a very important storehouse of calcium. Why? Because bone, being a connective tissue, stores or has uh, cells embedded in some matrix, and calcium phosphate Ca3PO4 whole choice, that forms a very important element of your bone matrix. Now calcium storage is important. Why? Very important reason is muscular contraction. Now we understand as animals we do a lot of movement, which is chiefly organized by muscles contracting, for which you need calcium. So we must maintain we must maintain a very fair range of blood calcium level. So blood calcium level should be at very fair range. If at all there is an imbalance, let's say the amount of calcium ions decrease, there's a gland in your situated like buttons in your thyroid gland called the parathyroid gland, which releases a hormone called parathyroid hormone. This increases the activity of osteoclast cell, a cell which is supposed to decompose or degrade your bone matrix, and hence, so PTH would degrade the would cause the degradation of the matrix, and hence it would increase the calcium level in your blood. In this way, it brings the calcium level back. So, why it could do that? Because we had the calcium stored away, and hence it is an important function of our skeleton. The next important is osteocalcin. Osteocalcin is a hormone that is associated with our bones. Now, it kind of prods the beta cells of pancreas. Now, if we remember that pancreas is a mesocrine gland, it has both duct associated cells that give you the enzymes, and it has cells that give hormones, secretions into the bloodstream. Now, beta cells are known to produce insulin. Osteocalcin prods beta cells to divide and give you more insulin. And now you know insulin is important for uptake of glucose by the cells of the body. So that is why it's very, very important for us. The last but not the least is the function of the bone by which it can store or produce, I will say, it can store fat and produce blood cells. Now, your bones have two layers. The outer is compact, the inner is like a mesh, and you call that spongy bone. Now, the spongy bone of flat bones are called diploe. The diploe of flat bones have a very special type of marrow called red bone marrow. Now, what is the importance of the red bone marrow? The importance is that these have cells, HSCs, hematopoietic stem cells. Now, what is the job of hematopoietic stem cells? They divide to produce the blood cells. Hence, red bone marrow is very, very essential. Now, there's yellow bone marrow in the medullary cavity of the bones, and this medullary cavity's yellow bone marrow stores a lot of fat. Hence, we see, opposed to what we generally think, skeletons as a storehouse of a lot of substances, framework providing substances, it has several functions that help us. I hope this video helped you.
If you're looking for similar topics, check out our other videos and don't forget to subscribe.